Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to tonight's session of how to buy and fund your BRRRR property. My name is Cherie. I am with a company called Simply Funded. That's SIMPLI funded.com. And we are hard money lenders. We have programs nationwide for investors. And today's program is really kind of like a 101 for people who want to get into real estate investing. You want to know how to buy properties. You want to know how to renovate them. You want to know how to rent them out, refinance, and of course, repeat. How do you build a portfolio? And what kind of financing options are available to you? That is going to be the topic of the evening. So what I'm going to do is share my screen with everybody, and we are going to get started with the presentation. And then after that, you can definitely feel free to ask questions, because this is a mastermind. So again, today's session is all about how do you buy and fund your BRRRR strategy, your first BRRRR property. Overall, do you want to have 5 doors, 10 doors, 20 doors, etc.? You can consider BRRRR the way to, or a way, I should say, to make that dream a reality. So who are we? We are a group of real estate investors, real estate experts, real estate specialists who are here to help you become more successful. So the gentleman to the left-hand side of the screen is a guy named Rob Chavez. He is an active investor. He is an active entrepreneur. He owns a lot of buy and hold properties, whether it is long-term rentals, short-term rentals. He does a lot of fix and flips, etc. The gentleman to the right of him with the Sell Simply on is a guy named Mike Capello. He is a wholesaler. He's also a real estate investor. So when I start talking about ways that you can actually buy properties, a lot of the information I'm getting tonight is firsthand from Mike, who has successfully, I think over the past few weeks, have closed on about 3 or 4 deals. So he's telling me right now what's actually working in the market today. And as you get to work more and more with me, you get to work with our team, and all of these people on the screen, and so many more people are part of our team that you have direct access to. Of course, me there to the bottom here, I am your lender. I actually specialize in lending to investors the money that you need in order to purchase the properties that you're looking for. I also am a traditional lender for people who want to buy their own homes in Virginia and Maryland. So if you have a family friend or coworker that is looking to buy, sell, or refinance their own home in Maryland and Virginia, I am licensed in those states. But if you are an investor, I can work with you anywhere across the country. And then the final person that I have here to the very right is a guy named Dan Nice. There are certain people out there who are called agent investors, real estate agent investors, and they are investor-friendly real estate agents, because there are a lot of real estate agents that do not like to work with investors, just because we're very money focused. We want to know the bottom line about everything, right? So, but Dan is an agent-friendly investor, and he is a part of our team. And we have some other agent-friendly investors as well as part of our team. So there are 3 questions that newbies always ask as we are talking with regards to the BRRRR strategy. The first thing they want to know is, how do I find properties? Like, where are these properties located? How do I find them, etc.? We always hear people saying, yes, you can buy a property with no money down, absolutely no money out of your pocket. People will just give you their houses. I will say that there are people who are successfully doing creative financing. However, to have absolutely no money out of your pocket in order to buy a house, that is a 1% chance of happening. Practically everybody that I work with, everyone that I know, you have to put some money down. But yeah, there are properties that are out there. We're going to talk a little bit tonight about a couple of different ways for you to find those properties. We're going to talk about ways for you to find the money. Again, doing some creative financing as well as working with someone like me. And number 3 question that people ask is contractors. How do I find a contractor that can actually do this job and do it really well and get me to a point where I can get some renters in here so that I can make some money on this property? So the first question you may be asking is, what is the BRRRR strategy? BRRRR stands for buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. And basically it is a way that you are able to buy an infinite number of properties using like one seed investment that you have put in, or one initial investment that you have put in to your property acquisition strategy. So you're basically able, the BRRRR method increases your ability to make passive income, increases your rental portfolio, and increases your ability to build equity during the rehab process, because you're typically buying off-market properties, or you're buying properties at a reduced amount of money based on the value of the property. And we're going to talk tonight about ways to do that. So step 1 is you buy, repair, and rent, your first house. You're gonna look around for your first house, you're gonna buy it, you're gonna renovate it, and you're gonna rent that puppy out, right? And then step 2 is you're gonna refinance that first house, and you can do the buying and the refinancing through me if you wish. You're gonna refinance, you're gonna get your cash out of that property, and you're gonna purchase your second house with that first investment. And then you're going to continuously repeat steps 1 and 2 until you have the number of doors that you're looking for. Now, let's talk about reality. There are some times when you buy your first property, you renovate it, you rent it out, and you don't get to pull all of your money out. And that's okay as well. What you're focusing on over time is the amount of cash flow that you have, and the amount of doors that you have, and the rental portfolio that you're building for yourself and your family. There are some pros and there are some cons. I believe in telling people both. So the pros are the potential for consistent cash with a good tenant. You could have equity on the first day if you're buying the property for a low enough value. The potential appreciation and tax savings. So some of our people who are here, you may have super high salary and you're looking for a taxable way to depreciate or get some of those tax savings. Real estate can be a way for you to do that. You can continue to use your first cash contribution to grow your portfolio. You can buy an infinite amount of properties, and BRRRR method is a scalable method. But there are some cons. The first is you could have 2 rounds of closing costs. The first round being when you buy the property, and the second round of closing costs is when you refi it. However, there are some low cost and no cost refinancing options that are available to people now. So we can definitely take a look at that on a case-by-case basis. Also, you can have rental income that is not high enough to refinance the property. How will you know if this is happening? Preferably when you do your initial analysis, you would want to make sure that the rental income that you're getting is going to be high enough to offset the mortgage that you're getting for the refi. So third is the refinancing may take something called seasoning. Seasoning means the amount of time that you've actually owned the property. So There are some lenders that require you to have owned the company, owned the property for 6 months. There are other lenders that require you have owned the property for 3 months. And people who are owning the property for at least 6 months before they refi, you typically get better terms. You typically get better terms, meaning you could cash out for more money if you have held the property for 6 months. So uh, another con of BRRRR with regards to the financing, the interest is going to be higher than your primary residence if we're doing something called a DSCR loan. However, those loans do not show up on your credit report. So people are willing to pay an extra % or two in interest in order to not have the the refinance that loan show up on your credit report. And then sometimes with the BRRRR, if you're using traditional loans and you have over 4 properties, sometimes it's 6 properties, sometimes it's 10 properties, and you keep going to a traditional lender for conventional financing, eventually you hit a ceiling with regards to the amount of properties you can have. So people tend to come to us anyway. Actually, one of my first clients that I closed this year was somebody like that. She hit her ceiling with regards to the amount of loans she could take out from her traditional bank. So now it is time for everybody to participate. You can put in the chat, how many properties can you do the BRRRR method with? A little question. Should have a little Jeopardy music right now going. But you can put in the chat, how many properties can you buy on the BRRRR method? If you said an infinite number of properties or unlimited, you are correct. Thank you, Natasha. Yes, an infinite number of properties, unlimited. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Let's talk about where you find properties. Where you find properties. There are several places where you could find properties. Sometimes you can find properties on the MLS, depending on where you're buying. The MLS is the multiple listing service. That's the service that realtors use in order to see what properties are available. Some people will look on Zillow or Redfin for properties, so you're able to do that as well. Depending on where you're looking, what city you're looking in, and how good of a deal you're looking for, MLS is a bit of a hit or miss, but I do suggest people try there because you never know, you might find a hidden gem on the MLS. You can also drive for dollars and you see this super ugly house in the middle here. You're looking for the ugly house, the unkept house, grass growing all over the place, some place that just looks like it is not tended to and cared for. You're able to get the address of the property and then put it into some of the, they call it prop tech, property technology, in order to skip trace, in order to find that owner of the property, reach out to them, say, hey, I saw your property on 123 Main Street. Don't tell them it's a hot mess, but you are able to say, you know, it looks like maybe it, you know, if you would ever consider selling it, I would be interested in buying it. So the third way that you can find properties are distressed sellers. So these are people who are going through divorce, death. You know, sometimes there was Mike bought a property from somebody who had a work accident. He had some medical issues and he wasn't able to work, I think, for a year, and they got behind on their mortgage. So people who are in pre-foreclosure for all sorts of reasons, etc. The best deals that we're finding, especially for the BRRRR method, are off-market deals. However, again, if you can find something on the MLS, you can definitely do that. You can definitely do that. So there are some people who actually specialize in just going after probate properties. There are some people who specialize in talking to divorce attorneys and getting deals that way, etc. I like to have a multitude of ways of getting deals. But I'm going to show you an off-market way that Mike, one of my team members, has been using to get deals. So he uses a service, and we actually have a corporate account for something called batch leads. And batch leads enables you to go in and you're able to put in filters for certain properties that you're looking for. So it could be absentee landlords in Baltimore County, or it could be properties with a certain amount of equity in Prince William County, Virginia, or anything like that. You're able to get access to the property, like download the information with regards to the owner and a mailing address for that property. You can also skip trace and that person and get their phone number and their email address as well. And you're able to either write letters or you're able to call. So Mike chose to write letters, and he buys a lot in the Front Royal, Virginia area. He ended up sending out something here called the yellow letter. So the yellow letter is to the right-hand side, simply says, do you need to sell? Dear Susie, I'm interested in buying your house that is located at 147 Orange Drive. I buy houses fast for cash. Thank you, Joe Buyer, with the little house at the bottom. So the story is, a couple of months ago, Mike sent out 2,000 of these letters. He got, I believe it was 37 phone calls from people. So sent out 2,000 letters, got 37 phone calls from people saying, yes, I'm interested in selling my house. And he closed 3 deals from this one letter. He also said that they were doing this before and it was effective, and then they stopped doing it and they started doing it again. So I like this as a way for you to find off-market properties. If you're considering the fact that you are building a real estate portfolio, you may want to consider investing in getting off-market deals. A lot of people will go to realtors and say, hey, I want an off-market deal. Or you'll go to a wholesaler, which you can do both. You can go to realtors and say, hey, this is what I'm looking to buy, and they can look around for you. You can go to wholesalers and say, hey, add me to your list. And they may add you to their list. However, when a property comes up, they usually have a short list of people that they contact first before they send it out to everybody on their list. So you want to at least get favor and be on their short list, right? But one of my favorite ways of you getting off-market properties is just talking to sellers directly. And with Mike, he used batch leads in order to find absentee owners. That was another big thing. Absentee owners. Can you guess, and you can either unmute yourself or put it in the chat, can you guess the most popular type of person who responded to this, this, what do you call it, yellow letter? Do you think it was tired landlords, or do you think it was homeowners in pre-foreclosure? Do you think it was tired landlords, or do you think it's homeowners in pre-foreclosure? You all can put it in the chat what you think. Homeowners in pre-foreclosure. Yes, Natasha, for the win. Yes. Homeowners in pre-foreclosure were the primary ones to respond to this letter. If you are looking for tired landlords, you can do this as well. Another way you can get properties from tired landlords is through property managers. So if you get a list of property managers in whatever vicinity, whatever local area you're looking to buy, start calling them. Pick up the phone. That's like one of the things. You're in business now. You are in the business of building your BRRRR portfolio. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone because they are a business and you're a business. So you're not going to get into any kind of trouble with regards to the law and the do not call laws, right? But just say, hey, I'm a local investor and I saw you're a property manager. I'm looking to buy a couple of properties right now. I'm wondering if you have any clients who are selling any of their properties right now. I love an opportunity to purchase them. Um, People are picking up properties this way. We have some team members in Knoxville, and one of the property managers, one of the individuals who owned a property, she actually owned 8 properties. She let them all go at the same time because she was looking to get into another deal. But you have to kind of be out there talking to people, um, working the system in order to get access to these properties. So before I move from here, anybody have any questions? Again, you can unmute yourself if you have a question, or you can put in the chat about how to buy properties. The letter campaign is everything, y'all. Letter campaign is everything. I will say that much. So I already told you his results, 2,000, simple yellow letters, 37 calls, purchased 3 properties, and he had a total investment in this of $2,000, and he is doing quite well. So thank you, Natasha, for saying so far so good. So this is the yellow letter campaign that you are able to creatively still in order to get your own off-market properties. So then your next question is, where do I get the money? The letter sounds great for introverts. I agree with that. I definitely agree. Or I just don't want to call 2,000 people. I'm not necessarily an introvert. I just don't want to call 2,000 people. I will call a list of 20 property managers and ask if any of their clients are selling anything, but I'm not calling 2,000 people. So the letter is actually a way for you to be effective with your time and get those 37 people to raise their hand or pick up the phone and call you. Right? And then you only have to make 37 calls back in order to close 3 deals. So where do I get the money? You can get it from a traditional lender, you can get it from a hard money lender, of which I'm both, or you can get it from a mortgage strategist for investors, of which I'm that as well, right? Um, there are tons of places where you are able to get money. There are a lot of lenders that are out there. There aren't a lot of lenders who are investor friendly and who understands how to work with you with the numbers that you are working with in order to calculate things like break even points and, you know, work with the underwriters of some of these loan products in order to make sure you're getting into the right property at the right cost, because it's not about rate, it's about total cost for you to get in and how long it's going to take for you to get that cash out of those properties so that you can buy more and more and more properties. So I definitely suggest that you work with somebody who is an investor-friendly mortgage strategist. And again, we do loans nationwide. We have a lot of different programs that are available for you to buy and rehab. We have a program now that's about 90% loan to cost, the cost for you to buy and renovate the property. I will say for a lot of these programs, the more experience that you have with renovation, the better the terms are. The more experience you have with renovating and flipping properties, the better the terms are. So one of the things I always suggest for my newbies is when you're going into a property, your very first property should not be a full gut. Your very first property should be paint, carpet, new appliances, keep it super simple, right? That's it. And with that nice little facelift, you are able to put in $30,000, $40,000 potentially into a property and increase the value of it $100,000 plus. So So you've got your programs here, you've got your 80 to 90% loan to cost. Some of the other programs that we have are based on the after repair value. That's what ARV means. Some of the programs that we have are like a portion of the purchase and a portion of the construction. So we do have one that is 75% purchase, 100% construction. Again, this is for just the buy and rehab portion, because if you want, if you're getting a long-term rental and there's enough rehab or renovation money that's needed, it's better for you to get one loan in order to buy and rehab and then refinance it at another point for your full after repair value. So minimum credit score is 620. However, people who have 700 plus often fare better. There's no income verification with regards to this. So with these kinds of loans, we care more about the property numbers than about your W-2 taxes, Minimum is oftentimes $100,000 for these loans. So if I know, I've had people call me from, they want to buy in some place in Michigan where the properties are $30,000 and they're asking me for a loan. They're not doing loans for that low. In fact, I have one vendor who won't do loans. Their minimum now is $150,000 because of the cost of capital these days. A lot of lenders are like having higher minimums in order for you to get in. Some programs accept newbies, so don't necessarily say, oh, I'm new, I can't, get into any of these programs, because you can. And oftentimes loans can close between 10 and 30 days. So it depends on where you're buying, who we're getting the money from, et cetera, whether it's going to be closer to 10 days or 30 days. Then you're going to get to a point where you have bought your property, you have rehabbed it, you have rented it out. You can rent it out with the help of a property manager who can find tenants for you, vet those tenants, and manage the property. You can also have vetting done by a realtor. That person, again, is able to they will like have somebody tour the property. They will collect the application. They will vet the person, and usually they get to keep like 1 month's rent, so that way you're able to vet somebody that way, or you could do your own property management as well. I will say, and I just consulted with somebody with regards to this, I will say you want to talk with a real estate attorney in your area about the landlord laws before you invest anywhere, especially if you're investing in a new state. Some places are very tenant friendly and some places are very landlord friendly, especially if you're buying a property that already has a tenant in it. And let's say, because people will sell you properties where the tenant has not paid rent, right? So you need to know, like, what's the process of me evicting somebody? How long is the wait, et cetera, et cetera. So you want to have a conversation with a competent real estate attorney. And we have access to some if you need some, especially if you're in the Metro DC area. But our team is actually nationwide. We know people all over the place. So if you're like, hey, Cherie, I need somebody in Arkansas, I actually know a couple of people doing business in Arkansas in real estate. So I can reach out to them and say, hey, who's the best real estate attorney in Arkansas? And I can get that information for you. So you're going to rent and then you're going to refinance. So refinancing, there's different programs here with regards to the money. You can get 70%, sometimes 75% of the value of the property, even if it's vacant. You can also get something called a DSCR loan, but that's typically 75%. Sometimes they go up to 80% for the refi, but mostly it's 70 to 75%. If you want 75% of the value to be cashed out of the property, then you probably want to, as much as possible, have that first buy and rehab loan for 6 months before you refinance, right? These loans, the DSCR loans, long-term loans, are 5 to 30 years. You can get a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage, or you can get a 30-year fixed mortgage. And then they have all sorts of loan products in between with regards to terms. The rent needs to be at least $1 for every principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, like total payment that you have. So in other words, if your PITI, which stands for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, if that is $1,000, then your rent should be at least $1,000. If it's not, it's going to be hard for you to get funding unless you have really good credit, like 760 plus, right? But you want to have this anyway as a basis, a basic level, because you don't want to lose money on your rentals. So loans are available to LLCs, so you don't have to necessarily buy this in the name of Cherie Warwick. You can buy it in your LLC's names. The loans do not show up on your personal credit, so you can keep your personal credit clean. And the rates are slightly higher. It's going to be 1 to 2 percentage points higher than traditional lenders, than a conventional loan. But a lot of my clients, practically all of my clients, prefer that because they don't necessarily want the loans on their credit. So the next thing, where do I find contractors, Cherie? A couple of great places. Number one is Real Estate Investment Association. So we belong to a group called GRID, which stands for gridinvestor.com. So I'll put in the chat for everybody, gridinvestor.com. We have chapters all over the country, and more chapters are being created on a monthly basis. So gridinvestor.com is where you can go. You can also find contractors from a referral from your realtor or your lender. So like if you call me and say, hey, Cherie, I need a contractor in Montgomery County, Maryland, I've got a guy, got actually a couple of guys that that I'm able to send to you. So yeah, and this is the very last slide. So what I'm doing now is I am working with a few people on helping you buy your first or your next BRRRR property. And we're going to go through the entire process of how you're going to figure out what you're going to buy, making sure that the financials are together. So that way, when you're ready to buy, like you will be ready. We're going to go over preferably the yellow letter campaign and actually have you put that into action. When the phone calls come in for the yellow letter campaign, you can either have one of our team members answer the phone for you and do the negotiation for you, or you are able to answer those calls yourselves, do your own negotiation. Then when you're ready to buy, of course, I'm going to be here. I've got construction people available for you to do your construction piece. I'll give you some 2 referrals, and you can use either one of those. And then refinancing, of course, I would make sure that you are set with that. So my ultimate goal with this company is to help 50 to 100 investors per year, like buy their first BRRRR property and ultimately build a BRRRR portfolio. But I want to start off with 2 to 3 people. We are still kind of in the beta process with regards to this whole thing. However, if it's something you think you would want to be considered for, I'm going to put in my email address. You can contact me and say, Cherie, I'm interested in being considered for that beta program. I think it's going to be fabulous. And what we're looking for is to get people off the sidelines and into ownership, because home ownership is the key to financial wealth. So first is, do you own your own home? And then second, how many additional doors do you want to buy? And how can we help you get there? How can we help you get there? A lot of places have mentorships and things like that, but then they just kind of, say, they give you a course and they say, here's what you do. We don't want to do that. We want to be a lot more hands-on with you. Like, we will work with you step by step with regards to how to pull your list. Like, I will work with you on how to pull a list of people to send the yellow letter campaign to. And then how do you actually send the letters? I will give you two vendors. We can look at both of them and you decide, where and how you want to send those letters out. What happens when the phone calls come in? Like, we'll talk about, okay, who's going to be answering the calls? How involved do you want to be in that process, right? The funding, et cetera, we will talk about that in advance as well. So now is the chance for all of you to participate. So you're able to take yourself off mute if you have questions. And I know I've also been streaming live to Facebook as well. So I want to check on my Facebook people and see where they are. Questions? Well, I wanted this to be more of a mastermind, but I realized I turned it into a webinar, and I apologize for that. But does anybody want to tell me where you're buying right now or where you would like to buy?
Hi there,
Lisa?
Shorty.
Go ahead.
Hello there.
Hey.
I am in the Texas area and I'd
I
like
know.
to purchase in these in Central Texas sometimes. So I've been looking around there,
Mhm.
especially after some family land. So that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I know. We've talked behind the scenes. So yeah. How's that going for you?
It's a process. It's definitely a process.
Mhm.
I think that but I'm really wanting to take my time. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping to target next year. So
Okay.
thank you.
It's interesting because I've spoken to a couple of people in the last few days who have bought land, and one of them put me in touch with a company that um, it's not container homes. Like, one of my other clients put me in touch with people who did container homes, but these are homes that are like prefab homes, and they basically build them. The guy explained it to me like it's like a kit that you get where you get all the materials and they ship it to you. You still have to get permits and things like that. But a
Oh,
lot
wow.
of people are building these prefab homes, and it costs 25% of what it would cost you to build the home the traditional way. I'm still going through my lending sources to make sure that these homes are fundable, like not just in the very beginning, but that somebody, once it's built, if you ever
Oh,
want to resell it, somebody could get a conventional loan on it. So there's things like how, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac guidelines with regards to this. But the gentleman that I spoke with said that they have government contracts with regards to these prefab homes, and
oh.
that the government is actually purchasing these things. So it may be something interesting. You and I know how to get in touch with each other behind the scenes, but maybe interesting for us to take a look at that as well, because I might want to do an Erica Williams thing and have
Oh.
some people start buying land and thinking about, okay, I want to build, a sixplex here, or I want to build a group of fourplexes. Like, I have one client in North Carolina that's what they're doing. They're building 22 fourplexes, like in this little cul-de-sac area. It's a bigger project. um,
Right.
but
No,
I think that that may be the wave of the future with regards to affordable housing.
I love that. I have been on a couple of seminars, and I believe I've heard you say this as well,
Mhm.
that there is a 7 million home affordable housing shortage in the
It's
United
something,
States,
it's some huge amount. So
something
that sounds
crazy
about
like that.
right. Yeah.
So those sound like excellent solutions. So
Mhm.
thank you. Thank
Yeah, yeah. So as I do more research, I'm going to be putting those things in my Simply Funded newsletter.
Oh,
So, and I'll probably be talking about them as well. Right now, there are ground up construction loans that I have access to for investors, but this one, what they have going on, this guy I talked to, I'm like, okay, let me do more research on that from the lending point of view. And my greatest concern is always your resale ability, because if you can't resell it in 10, 20 years, because it's not permitted properly, or the materials are not accepted by um, Fannie and Freddie, then it's going to be a problem. So I'm doing my research for that part of
Wow,
it.
that's fascinating. Thank
Yeah.
you for that
Yeah.
information.
But if
I've
I do that, then I'll be bringing it to everybody. Like, come on,
abs-
investors, let's do this.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, I've seen, I think there are places that are, kind of doing what you're talking about,
Mhm.
and they're building those houses, and there's wait lists, but those are
Yes.
cash buyers in general. So,
Yeah, so there are a lot of build to rent communities that are out there. And I know that, a lot of them are using this kind of manufacturing. But when they sell, they're going to sell to another private equity investor, right? What I envision is, how do we sell to other smaller investors or to the homeowners themselves ultimately? So
oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that's my whole thought process. And there's a lot of land out there, and people now are willing to live further out for the
Mhm.
affordability. So
Fascinating. Well, thank
yeah,
you for that. We'll definitely keep in touch. We'll talk offline
yeah,
about.
yeah. You and I can text each other or even call each other. And as I get information, I'll definitely let you know.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, then, everybody. Well, that is the session for the evening. I hope you all tell a friend or two about me at Simply Funded. We are looking to have this community grow more and more. So, just wanted to get people kind of thinking about this process. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful and blessed evening. Take care.
Thank,
Bye.
thank you so much.